There is a saying, words have the power to stir both life and death. In today's virtual world, what seems like a simple comment can cut deeper than a knife, leaving scars that may never heal. For Hana Kimura, a bright and promising young wrestler and social media star, relentless waves of cruel words and hateful comments pushed her to the edge of despair. As she rose through the ranks of professional wrestling, she could never have imagined that harsh online words would become an unbearable weight on her shoulders. Hana's tragic story serves as a powerful warning about the immense power of words and the unseen impact of online harassment. Beneath the bright lights and public persona, there was a young woman fighting a silent battle. As we walk through her journey, it becomes clear that words can be a bridge of love and understanding, or a weapon of destruction. This is a story that demands we reflect on our own words and their lasting consequences in the digital world. Hana Kimura was born on September 3, 1990, in Yokohama, Japan, into a multicultural family with a blend of Japanese and Indonesian heritage. Her mother, Kimura Kyoko, was a professional wrestler known for her strength, skill, and charisma in the Japanese wrestling world, while her father was Indonesian, though details about him remain relatively private. When Hana was just 1 year old, her parents divorced, leading her to be raised solely by her mother in Tokyo. This close mother-daughter bond would shape much of Hana's upbringing and career trajectory. Growing up, Hana's life was intertwined with the wrestling community due to Kyoko's career. Wrestling matches, training sessions, backstage interactions became a normal part of her childhood, immersing her in a world where physical endurance and emotional toughness were highly valued. Kyoko, who had to juggle the responsibilities of being a single mother with the rigorous demands of her profession, became both a parental and professional role model for Hana. Watching her mother's dedication to the sport inspired Hana and instilled in her a deep respect for wrestling, eventually influencing her decision to follow in Kyoko's footsteps. Yet, Hana's early years were marked by profound challenges. As a child of mixed heritage in Japan, a society that can be homogenous and sometimes unaccepting of diversity, she faced significant discrimination and bullying. Her classmates often taunted her for her appearance and background, leaving her feeling isolated and different. The relentless teasing and exclusion caused Hana to crave acceptance and validation from those around her, making her sensitive to criticism and deeply aware of how she was perceived by others. These experiences of bullying shaped her personality, driving her to seek connections, strive for success, and prove herself worthy of love and respect. Despite these hardships, Hana drew strength from her bond with her mother and the wrestling world, seeing it as both a sanctuary and a place where she could prove her worth. Kyoko supported Hana in every way possible, nurturing her dreams, guiding her through tough times, and training her as she eventually chose to pursue a professional wrestling career of her own. This decision would lead Hana into the spotlight, where she hoped to find admiration and acceptance, but it would also expose her to a much darker side of public scrutiny. The crime that led to Hana Kimura's tragic end was not one committed with physical weapons, but with words hurled at her through the screens of phones and computers. It was a crime rooted in relentless cyberbullying, a dark and pervasive aspect of our digital age. Hana became the target of an unrelenting wave of online harassment, which intensified after a particular episode of the reality TV show Terrace House aired. The episode depicted a heated confrontation involving Hana, which led many viewers to misinterpret her character based on selectively edited footage. Social media platforms were soon flooded with hateful comments, with some users calling her aggressive, fake, or unworthy of sympathy. Insults and slurs attacked her appearance, personality, and even her worth as a human being. The vitriol continued unabated, pushing Hana to the brink of despair. Despite her efforts to seek help and the occasional moments of reprieve, the negativity persisted and compounded with further broadcasts. This tragic episode highlighted the cruel and destructive power of cyberbullying, a modern social crime that can devastate lives while its perpetrators often remain anonymous and unaccountable. The tragic downfall of Hana Kimura points to two primary suspects responsible for the events that led to her demise: anonymous online trolls and the Terrace House production team. The first group comprises countless social media users and online trolls who launched a barrage of hateful and abusive comments targeting Hana. Hiding behind the anonymity that online platforms afford, These individuals unleashed relentless attacks on her character, looks, and actions. Their comments ranged from cruel insults and slurs to messages urging her to just go die. The anonymity of these trolls allowed them to spread hate without facing immediate consequences, turning Hana's online presence into a source of constant torment. They exemplified the dark side of internet culture, where mob mentality and lack of accountability enable harassment to fester. The second suspect is the Terrace House production team. The show, which claimed to offer unscripted glimpses into the lives of its cast members, has been accused of manipulating footage to create dramatic storylines and boost viewership. In Hana's case, the infamous wrestler's outfit incident was edited and framed to portray her as aggressive and unkind, distorting public perception of her true personality. Allegedly, producers encouraged conflicts and pushed for emotional outbursts, knowing that heightened drama would attract more attention. By shaping Hana into a villain for entertainment purposes, the production team amplified the public backlash she faced, making her the focal point of a vicious wave of criticism and harassment. Their actions raise ethical questions about the responsibility media creators bear when shaping narratives and exposing participants to public scrutiny. Hana Kimura's journey began as a rising star in the world of professional wrestling, where she quickly gained a reputation for her talent, charisma, and dedication. Trained under the guidance of her mother, Kimura Hana rose to prominence in Japan's wrestling scene, particularly through her work with Stardom Wrestling. She captivated audiences with her vibrant personality and fierce in-ring presence, becoming a fan favorite and a symbol of the sport's new generation. Her success extended beyond the ring as she embraced opportunities to connect with fans and showcase a multifaceted persona. In 2019, Hana's growing fame led to her participation in Terrace House, Tokyo 2019-2020, a popular reality TV show that followed the lives of 6 strangers living together. With its blend of drama, romance, and relatable interactions, the show had a massive following both domestically and internationally. Hana quickly became one of the standout cast members, charming viewers with her bubbly, kind-hearted demeanor and her openness about her career and dreams. Her contrasting persona, being sweet and approachable off the mat, but fierce and powerful inside the ring, made her relatable and appealing to fans worldwide. However, this positive image took a dark turn in March 2020 with the wrestler's outfit incident. The conflict arose when Hana discovered that her cherished wrestling costume, which held immense sentimental value, had been accidentally damaged in the laundry by another cast member, Kobayashi Kai. The confrontation that ensued was emotional, as Hana expressed frustration and sadness over the loss. While her reaction stemmed from genuine pain and attachment to the outfit, the scene was edited and presented by Terrace House producers in a way that highlighted her anger and intensity. This portrayal painted her as aggressive, triggering a flood of negative responses from viewers. Social media quickly became the stage for escalating harassment. Many users, without full context of the situation, condemned Hana for what they perceived as an overreaction, labeling her as hostile, ungrateful, and cruel. Hateful comments poured in, attacking her personality, appearance, and character. Messages ranged from harsh insults to calls for her to leave the show or even take her own life. The relentless stream of negativity weighed heavily on Hana, who already struggled with feelings of inadequacy and a desire for acceptance rooted in her childhood experiences of bullying. The actions of the Terrace House production team further worsened the situation. Hana's mother and other sources later revealed that producers had allegedly encouraged her to amplify the conflict for dramatic effect. This villain role was not something Hana embraced naturally, but was manipulated for entertainment value. The production team's intervention, along with selective editing, distorted public perception of her true personality. Even when Hana sought help, expressing her distress over the backlash to the producers, she received little meaningful support. The situation deteriorated in May 2020 when the show's producers re-released unaired behind-the-scenes footage and aired the controversial episode again, reigniting public criticism and exposing Hana to another wave of harassment. This reignition of the wrestler's outfit incident once more amplified the negative attention directed at her, leaving Hana in a fragile mental state. Isolated, struggling with her self-worth, and facing relentless cyberbullying, Hana's mental health continued to decline. On May 22, 2020, Hana shared a series of deeply troubling posts on social media, expressing her overwhelming despair and hopelessness. She revealed that she was receiving hundreds of hateful comments daily and that she felt unable to endure the pain any longer. Later that night, Hana took her own life in her Tokyo apartment. Her final messages to her loved ones, including a heartbreaking apology to her mother, underscored the depth of her suffering. Hana Kimura's tragic death highlights the devastating impact of cyberbullying, reality TV exploitation, and the lack of adequate support for individuals in the public eye. It stands as a sobering reminder of the consequences of online cruelty, media manipulation, and unchecked harassment. Hana Kimura was a talented and promising professional wrestler, widely recognized as one of the brightest stars of Stardom, Japan's premier women's wrestling promotion. With a unique blend of charisma, athleticism, and passion for her craft, she quickly rose through the ranks to become one of the most beloved figures in the sport. Hana's wrestling style showcased not only physical strength, but also creativity and flair, capturing the attention of fans both in Japan and abroad. As a second-generation wrestler, she carried on her mother Kimura Kyoko's legacy with pride, determined to leave her own mark on the industry. Beyond her public persona as a fierce competitor, Hana was known to those close to her as a sensitive, kind-hearted, and empathetic young woman. She had a genuine desire to connect with others, often going out of her way to make people feel comfortable and seen. This openness and vulnerability made her a favorite among fans, but it also meant she was deeply affected by criticism and negativity. Having experienced bullying as a mixed-race child, Hana craved acceptance and strove to be liked, making her especially susceptible to the harsh judgments of strangers online. Hana's growing fame brought both adoration and pressure. Her participation in the reality TV show Terrace House introduced her to a broader audience, further amplifying her public exposure. While it initially seemed like an opportunity to connect with more fans, the experience ultimately laid bare the dark side of public life. The pressures of being in the spotlight, combined with the scrutiny and expectations from viewers, made her vulnerable to the negative impacts of online harassment. Despite her outward strength as a professional wrestler, Hana faced immense struggles behind the scenes. The barrage of hurtful comments and the relentless wave of cyberbullying during her time on Terrace House weighed heavily on her mental health. Her sensitive nature made it difficult for her to brush off the hate, and the lack of meaningful support from those around her only deepened her sense of isolation. Hana's story is one of a young woman who dedicated herself to bringing joy to others, but ultimately became a victim of a cruel and unrelenting digital world that she could not escape. The death of Hana Kimura in May 2020 sent shockwaves through Japan and reverberated across the world, eliciting an overwhelming outpouring of grief and disbelief from fans, fellow wrestlers, celebrities, and the wider public. Hana, known for her bright smile and passionate dedication to professional wrestling, was mourned as a talented star whose life ended far too soon due to the relentless cruelty of cyberbullying. Fans flocked to social media and wrestling forums to share messages of love, sorrow, and tributes to her memory. Memorials were held both online and in the wrestling community to honor her legacy and reflect on the tragic circumstances of her passing. Fellow wrestlers, both in Japan and internationally, expressed their shock and heartbreak. Many of Hana's colleagues spoke publicly about the deep impact she had on the wrestling world and how her loss underscored the need to better protect vulnerable individuals from the dark side of public exposure. Wrestlers from Stardom and other promotions offered heartfelt tributes, remembering Hana as a bright, caring soul who brought passion and spirit into every match she fought. For many in the wrestling community, her death was a painful reminder of the mental and emotional challenges that public figures often face. Celebrities, too, were quick to condemn the toxic culture of online harassment that contributed to Hana's demise. Prominent figures spoke out against cyberbullying, calling for greater awareness, compassion, and stronger protections for those in the public eye. Some shared their own experiences with online hate, underscoring the universality of the issue and the need for systemic change. Notably, in the immediate aftermath of Hana's death, many of the same people who had previously criticized or harassed her scrambled to delete their hateful comments, deactivate their accounts, or publicly express regret. This collective sense of guilt and accountability highlighted a sobering public realization. Words and actions online have real-life consequences. While some of these reversals may have been driven by fear of backlash, they also reflected a deeper awareness of the devastating impact that anonymous cruelty can have on a person's mental health. Hana's death drew comparisons to other high-profile tragedies linked to online harassment, including the case of Korean singer and actress Sully, who also faced relentless cyberbullying before her tragic death. These parallels underscored a pattern of systemic failures to protect vulnerable individuals from online abuse, especially young women in the public eye. Such comparisons spurred discussions across social and traditional media about the ethical responsibilities of fans, the role of media in creating and exacerbating harassment, and the urgent need for legal reforms to combat cyberbullying. In the wake of this tragedy, there were widespread calls for change. Campaigns and initiatives against cyberbullying gained momentum, with demands for stricter penalties for online harassment and better support systems for those affected. Organizations dedicated to mental health and digital safety intensified their efforts, using Hana's story to emphasize the human cost of online cruelty. Hana's mother, Kimura Hana, emerged as a powerful advocate for change. Despite her own immense grief, she dedicated herself to raising awareness about cyberbullying, sharing her daughter's story to ensure that no one else would suffer the same fate. Kyoko's courage and resilience resonated with the public, turning her loss into a force for meaningful dialogue and reform. The collective response to Hana Kimura's death stands as both a tribute to her life and a call to action, a recognition that cyberbullying is not a trivial issue, but a pervasive threat that demands accountability, empathy, and change from everyone involved in shaping online interactions and media narratives. Following the tragic death of Hana Kimura, a police investigation was launched to address the malicious online comments and relentless cyberbullying that she endured. The investigation aimed to identify individuals responsible for harassing Hana and to hold them accountable for their actions. However, it quickly became clear that pursuing justice in cases of online harassment presented significant challenges. One of the primary obstacles was the difficulty of tracking down and identifying the perpetrators. Many of those who posted hateful comments about Hana were anonymous users on social media platforms, often using pseudonyms or disposable accounts. As the backlash intensified after her death, many of these accounts were deleted or their posts were scrubbed, erasing crucial evidence. The fast-paced, ephemeral nature of online interactions made it challenging for investigators to preserve and analyze the full extent of the harassment Hana had faced. Another major challenge lay in Japan's legal framework at the time, which offered limited tools to address cyberbullying. Existing laws were often inadequate for prosecuting online harassment cases, with penalties that were far too lenient given the gravity of the harm caused. When police were eventually able to identify a few individuals responsible for posting hateful comments, the repercussions they faced were minimal. In early 2021, two men were charged with posting abusive remarks about Hana, but the penalties imposed on them were shockingly light. Fines of approximately 9,000 yen, about $80 each. This outcome, viewed by many as a mere slap on the wrist, underscored the lack of serious deterrence in Japan's cyberbullying laws. One additional case involved a third man who was ordered to pay approximately $8,500 in damages. However, he repeatedly refused to comply, and the case gradually lost momentum due to Japan's short statute of limitations on defamation cases. The relatively weak penalties and slow legal processes fueled public frustration, as many believed that these measures failed to adequately address the harm done or prevent similar tragedies in the future. Hana's mother, Kimura Hana, became a prominent voice advocating for change. She spoke out about the need for stronger protections against online harassment and more stringent laws to hold cyberbullies accountable. Her tireless advocacy and the public outcry that followed Hana's death put significant pressure on Japanese lawmakers to take action. This led to a push for legislative reform aimed at combating cyberbullying and ensuring justice for victims. On June 13, 2022, Japan's upper house of parliament passed an amendment to the country's penal code, introducing harsher penalties for online insults and cyberbullying. Under the new law, perpetrators could face up to 1 year in prison and a fine of up to 300,000 yen, approximately 2,200, compared to the previous maximum penalty of a 30-day detention and a 10,000 yen, $80 fine. While some raised concerns about the potential impact on free speech, The majority supported the move as a necessary step toward deterring online abuse and protecting vulnerable individuals. Despite this legislative progress, the case highlighted the complexities and limitations of prosecuting cyberbullying. The investigation into Hana's case revealed systemic issues in addressing online harassment, such as the reluctance of social media platforms to cooperate with law enforcement by providing user information. Twitter and Instagram, where much of the abuse had occurred, refused to disclose data that could have helped identify more perpetrators. This lack of cooperation underscored the need for a coordinated approach involving governments, tech companies, and civil society to combat online hate effectively. The story of Hana Kimura serves as a powerful reminder of the immense impact words can have, both online and offline. Her death underscores the urgent need for greater awareness and responsibility in how we communicate and treat one another in the digital age. The cruel words and cyberbullying directed at Hana did not exist in a vacuum. They were amplified by social media's pervasive reach and fueled by manipulated narratives on reality television. Hana's tragic passing became a catalyst for legal reform and prompted widespread societal reflection on cyberbullying in Japan and beyond. In response, new laws were enacted to impose stricter penalties on online harassment, signaling a step toward accountability and protection for vulnerable individuals. Yet, more remains to be done to address the broader culture of online hate and to support those who suffer under its weight. Her story also calls for ethical responsibility from media producers and viewers. Reality television must be more transparent and compassionate, resisting the temptation to exploit human lives for ratings. Audiences, too, bear a role in engaging with content critically and empathetically. Hana Kimura's legacy is one of resilience, talent, and the hope for a kinder world. Her memory must continue to inspire efforts to create safe, respectful spaces for all, ensuring her tragedy leads to lasting change in how society treats those in the public eye. If you found this story meaningful, please consider subscribing to our channel and following for more content that dives deep into important issues and stories that matter. Thank you for your support.